Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this recipe video. For this recipe video, I will be making a monster cookie and I'm very happy to share it with you all. I have all of my ingredients here. I'm gonna go ahead and get started and begin going through the ingredients list as I begin mixing some things. Get my mixer ready. You want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. Also want to have a wire rack, a cookie sheet with parchment paper, a spatula, this is covered in butter, and then your cookie scoop or a tablespoon. So for the ingredients that I have, I'm going to start with a half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick. These are 2/4 that I have here, and you want them softened. And I can show you here, I do have this already in my bowl. And then we want a half a cup of golden brown sugar. I have this packed in here really tight, so it's gonna be like, there we go. And then we have a 1/4 cup of just regular sugar. You can use brown sugar, or not brown sugar, but the cane sugar is what I meant to say. If you don't use white sugar, sugar, or any kind of sugar that is preferable for you. A 1/4 cup of that. And so with that, we're going to mix the half a cup of butter, the half a cup of brown sugar, and the 1/4 cup of sugar, and mix that for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer over here. Okay, so the rest of the ingredients that we have here, I have 3/4 cup of butter. It's nut butter, and so what I have here is about a half a cup of peanut butter and then a 1/4 cup of Nutella. You can use 3/4 cup of peanut butter if that is your choice. I really love Nutella, and so I decided to go ahead and throw in just a little bit of that with the peanut butter there as well. You want 1 egg that's at room temperature, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla flavoring, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup and 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And with the flour, that's versatile as well, just like the nut butter that we had. You can use any kind of flour that you like. I would just be wary about the consistency if you use anything different. Just keep that in mind and do the research on it before you actually use it. And I have a half a cup of quick oats. And then we have 3/4 cup of M&ms, and what I've used here is both peanut M&ms and plain M&ms. So we have 3/4 cup of both peanut M&ms and plain M&ms there. You don't have to use both. If you want to use one more over the other, by all means, that's your choice. And then lastly, we have a half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I also have my cookie scoop here. If you don't have a cookie scoop, and this is normally, I would say roughly about 2 tablespoons. If you have a tablespoon, use a tablespoon. You'll need 2 tablespoons for each cookie. Let's see, we got about a minute left. So I have everything kind of organized here as the order of how it's to go in the mixing bowl. So the first 3 things that you want to have are just as I listed them as I begin showing you what we have here. So you want to begin, once you've started the butter and sugar, with the nut butter, the peanut butter, and Nutella, and then your egg and the vanilla. And I'm just going to go ahead, we're going to slow this down. And let me grab what we're doing. So one thing I like to do when you're putting eggs into a mix, there could be a slight chance that you may have a bad egg. And so a safe thing to do is to crack your egg and put it in a separate dish so that you can actually see it and make sure that it's okay to go into your mix. So this is going to be so we're gonna lift this up. I'm gonna throw in the peanut butter and Nutella. Just get that right in there. Very gooey. And this would be so fun for Halloween too. You could really play on this with the kiddos too, and kind of get some eyeballs, some little candy eyeballs that you can put on there. Make them into like little monster faces with frosting. But they're called monster cookies, so you can't really go wrong anyway. And then after the nut butter, we're gonna put in the egg. That was at room temperature. And then your vanilla. And you'll just kind of start slowly mixing that, making sure it's all combined. And then once you get everything mixed so you don't get splashed with any yummy raw egg, you can go ahead and turn it up just a little bit. And you want to kind of see it all combine and come together at a good consistency. And I'll show you once I get my little mix going here. Shout out to all you cookie lovers out there. This smells like really, really good. Like that, because it won't drip. You can see here, you want it nice and smooth, a smooth consistency, all blended together. All right, so then the next ingredients that we're gonna add is the baking soda, and then your flour. And one thing I like to do with the flour, instead of putting it all in, that again goes with the splashing, to prevent any kind of splashing or any flour dust coming up into your face. What I like to do is just kind of put a little bit in at a time on a very low, probably the lowest setting for your mixer. And then kind of let it mix in a little bit. You can like do a little dance, 1, 2, 3. And then put a little bit more in there. You see it combine, you go 1, 2, 3. And then put a little more, probably the rest of it. What you got there? And then kind of tap a little bit to get the sides of the bowl to clear out and into the mixture. And then turn it up a little bit. Okay, and then that's going to combine. And as you can see, it's a little bit thicker. It's quite thick here with the flour inside of here too. Just make sure we get all that flour in there. And so we have that here. You can see that there, how it's sticking. All right, and so then your last ingredients that we're going to put in, now this might be a little thicky. So once you kind of get everything mixed, you can go ahead, and I'll show you here, but you'll go ahead and scrape down and then kind of use your spatula yourself, which has this delicious leftover butter and peanut butter and Nutella on there too. And you'll incorporate that and get that all in there too. It's a party, so we'll go ahead and put in the oats, the quick oats. And then I'm going to put in probably most of the candy here. But I'm not gonna put all of it in there. I'm gonna leave some to kind of put some things on top, and then the chocolate chips. And I'm gonna do the same and leave probably just a little bit that we can kind of put on the cookie dough balls once we get them onto the parchment. And then you're gonna push that all the way down and stir. And if it gives a little resistance, just turn it up a little bit. Incorporate, I'd say do another 1, 2, 3. So you know it's mixed. Take your spatula and wipe down the mixer spatula that's in here. And get all the yummy cookie dough off of there. It smells super yummy, like I want to eat some right now. Uh-oh. We'll put that back in there. And I like to make sure like I get a majority off of the scraper here, this little mixer scraper here. All right, then, boop, there you go. Okay, so you can see here we got a nice yummy monster cookie mix. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a couple more of my own turns here. Just kind of cut through it and give it another spin. Make sure everything is in there. And if you feel like it's too soft, then you can put it in the refrigerator and chill it for about 15 to 30 minutes. So it's a little bit easier to work with. I'll probably do that, but I'm gonna go ahead and go through and show you and go ahead and scoop some on here so we can see and kind of get the idea of how this all works together. Okay, so I've got my scoop. Let me move this here. Put this down here. Everybody can see. I'm just going to take the scoop and begin scooping. And normally I do probably about three scoops in a row, horizontally, and then you'll just follow accordingly as it falls in vertically. And just make sure they're probably about, I would say like 2 inches apart. Give them a nice good space to be able to kind of spread out a little bit, especially if you don't refrigerate them, because they will spread. And they'll most likely need a little bit of help spreading as well once you take them out. So for these cookies, once you get your cookie sheet all set and ready to go, what you're going to do with your preheated oven at 350 degrees is bake these cookies for about 11 to 13 minutes. Take them out. They should have a nice golden brown to them. You're going to take them and put them on your wire rack and let them cool for, I'd say probably about 8 to 10 minutes, and then scoop them, or take your spatula. You're gonna take your spatula, scoop those cookies right up, place them on, if you have another wire rack, go ahead and take them and put them on a different wire rack. That way they're even more cooler after having, you know, if you use the one that you had initially that might have a little bit of heat to it from the pan where you took it out from the oven. Doesn't matter, but as long as you have one, that's fine. You'll just take those cookies, put them on the wire rack, and then set them there. You can let them cool for another, I'd say 5 minutes or so, and then start eating, or you can take them out and eat them as soon as they come out of the oven. It's your choice, it's your world. Rock on, do what makes you feel good. And then these are gonna be good to set out for about a week at room temperature. And by all means, if you feel more comfortable keeping these once you have baked them, if you feel more comfortable keeping these in your refrigerator and then taking them out, I would just take them out. If you want, you know, a softer cookie, and letting them come to a good room temperature, setting them out for about 5 or 10 minutes so that they are softened up a little bit. If you've had them in the fridge and you want to keep them more fresh, but they do just fine sitting out at room temperature for about a week. All right, so I'm just gonna finish the rest that we have here. I do hope that if you try this, that you really enjoy these and that you like these. I think, again, this is a perfect time. As we're coming into the fall season, tomorrow is the first day of fall. So I think that's great. This is a very great fall cookie, I think, too, because it's very hearty. It's got good oats in it. It's also healthy for you with the, well, for the most part, healthy. For the most part, because of the nut intake, and then also the oats that are involved with this. I would say it's one of the healthier, let's just put it that way. It's one of the healthier cookies that you can eat. All right, and then this is about how much batter I have left. If you don't want to use all of your batter and there's so many cookies that you do want to make, you can take this batter and put it in the freezer. I believe it will hold, I want to say somewhere between 3 to 6 months. If you keep keep it in a good, nice freezer bag. And you can, you know, just, again, like with the refrigeration almost, take it out, let it thaw for a little bit, and then go ahead and bake these cookies 350, 11 to 13 minutes. Let them cool for about 10, put them on a wire rack, pull a little bit more, store them in a nice, compact, good dish where they stay nice and fresh, good for up to a week at room temperature. So this was, oh, and let me show you here what I had here with the leftover before I go, just to show you, and this would be fun for the kids too, where they can take the candies and kind of press them on top of the cookie dough balls once you get them out here. So we'll do probably about, do a little bit there. And then you can take and do the same with the chocolate chip cookies, or not the chocolate chip cookies. Let me grab this. We got a low power mode going. With your chocolate chips, not chocolate chip cookies. These technically, because they have chocolate chips, could be considered a chocolate chip cookie, but we have that overload of peanuts and the hazelnut. And so this is another thing that, you know, is fun for the kids too, where you can take some chocolate chips. And put them on your cookie doughs. And don't worry about the mess. The mess is part of the fun with this part. Especially when it bakes, it's really yummy. All right, so here we are. We have some nice monster cookies that we're going to be baking. I will leave the finished product on my Instagram, which can be found at greenheartgoddess9. I do thank you all again for tuning in, and once again, if you try this recipe, I hope that you like it and enjoy it, and do share it. Thank you so much. Peace.